Oh my gosh, guys. When's the last time I've been live? You know, forget about it. Just watch the intro. Oh my God. I'm really excited to talk about this. What's up, everybody? How are you doing? When is the last time I've done a live? I think it was like October. Yeah, I think I was just getting kind of feeling the like repetition of it. Like I wasn't really like, yay. So I needed a break. So I decided I'm going to do lives for really special occasions because I get super overwhelmed. But I'm really excited. I've got a lot to say about this. Welcome back to Comics and Cosmetics Live. I am your host, Danny Sanssouci, licensed cosmetologist and registered super nerd, and also proud amputee who has a lot of amputee facts I'm going to lay on you tonight. And also, I live like in the heart of where the Cahokia Nation was. I have family that are Choctaw. Technically, I'm Cahokia Nation with my Osage background ish. So there's a bit of like a unique viewpoint I have that I'm really excited to deliver tonight. So before we go any further, please make sure you make that sacrifice to the algorithm overlords and smash the like button, napalm that subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you get notified whenever you're back with more nerdy news, breakdowns, and other stuff I can't shut up about. But before I ramble myself into another ditch, as usual, I need to bring on my fabulous accessory, my favorite guest, my nerd sister, my hashtag mini wrench girl. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Nicole from the Used and Abused podcast, Red 5
Hello.
Reading Everything. Hello.
I am so glad I'm here. Well, one, I'm glad I got you out of your shell so we could do this. Like, echoes happening. Are we doing something? This was my stance to you. I'm like, well, what are we doing? Because
like,
you and I were excited about this character.
I'm so stoked, and I have to hold on. I got to do something real quick. Just hold on.
Okay. Evan, hold on.
Real quick.
Echo.
I hope you guys enjoyed the back of my hair. I worked really hard on it. Yeah, it's great. It's called pineappling.
It's gorgeous. She needs to teach me.
I'm going to. I'm totally going to. I've got this backwards, and it's driving me crazy. I don't know what's happening, but I can't get my little thing in. Anyway.
Better?
No, because I did it wrong, and it's driving me crazy. So maybe if hey, look at that. I have a mess on my hands, and I hope everyone enjoyed that. There we go. Perfect. Now I can smile with confidence. Okay. So pineappling. Pineappling is when you take all your hair and you bring it to like right here in like a ponytail, like a loose ponytail, and you take a satin scrunchie and you just make a sloppy bun, like a real loose sloppy bun right there, and you sleep like that. And when you wake up, you have nice volume and it saves your hairstyle. So
Ooh, should try. Now everybody
I
knows.
swear to you, I am stone sober right now. I'm just very cringy.
You're good. You're good.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Aren't you just so glad you brought me out of my shell for me to
Yes.
just be weird?
Absolutely.
Okay. Nicole, for those who do not know you for some strange reason,
Know me.
please tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, let's see. I am Mini Wrench Girl to you, part of the proud family of the Red 5 Network. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, TikTok when I check it. Underneath Peace Love Fandoms, I spearhead the Red 5 reading a book club, which I'm so excited for tonight. So if you're interested in that, you can hit me up on Red 5 Reading on Twix, also known as Twitter/X. And heck yeah, I cannot forget to say I am 1/3 of Use and Abuse and 1/2 of Peace Love Disney. Whew, I think that about kind of
Woo!
kind of
That covers it.
a little bit.
Yeah. I think there's always so much to say when you
It's
do
true.
these things. And I always feel like I forget stuff. So I think we lost a couple of viewers when I was popping my teeth in.
That's okay. Come back.
Oh my gosh. And Dave has messed up my glorious Wonder Woman blanket in the background. You can't see it now, but it
No.
has been a big day of
I
internet
know.
adventures for
I
Danny.
did you see your what I put in your feed?
Oh,
Yeah.
supported by Wonder Woman.
See,
Okay.
I got you.
So you've always got me.
Oh
I
yeah.
am never worried about you. I'm never worried about you.
Wonder Woman
But
supported by Wonder Woman. If y'all don't believe me, check Twix.
I have to say, I have to tell the interwebs live right now that earlier today, I posted a picture of Tiny, my co-host with the Mo-host, um, resting his cute little head by my Wonder Woman season 1 DVD set. And I said, yeah, I get it, Tiny. I love Linda Carter too. And not only did she quote tweet it, respond saying, I love you too, Tiny, but then she followed me. And
I
I just went,
know.
so picture this. I'm in my mom costume, okay, which is basketball shorts, a Marvel t-shirt, and my hair floppy right here. And I just went lumbering through the house because I can't really run. I went lumbering through the house, squealing at the top of my lungs. It was all I could say. I screamed it until squealed it
Mhm.
until I couldn't breathe anymore.
Mhm.
And then I just fell down on the carpet in the living room and laid there like, and my 21-year-old son, he's like, you have loved Wonder Woman since before I was born. I'm like, I have loved Wonder Woman since I was born. Okay. You don't understand. Like, this is huge. And then I decided, okay, I've prepped dinner. Like, the family will not starve while I'm live streaming. I will take my customary pre podcast nap.
Mhm.
And I'm laying there trying to nap. Again, giant mom robe, hair flopped right here. And I get alerts on my phone. Terry Metalis, showrunner for Star Trek Picard season 3, writer, director, creator of 12 Monkeys, followed me on Instagram. And I was like, well, I'm not sleeping now. Thanks, Terry Metalis. Now I can't nap. So
Pretty sure you
this
had a good
is
day.
I this is me on sheer adrenaline. Will you fix that blanket? It's gonna drive me crazy.
Yes,
So
she
everyone
needs her
can see.
Wonder Woman, please.
Oh my god. It's I haven't been able to stop thinking about it all day. It's very exciting. And now I've just totally gone back to being the Michael Scott version of women podcasters. Oh,
Hey,
see
no,
what you've
you're
done to
it's not
me.
about that. You're celebrating. That's what this is about. You're
I
celebrating. This
I
is
am
wonderful news. This
there.
is
Now we
celebration.
can see
Yay,
Wendy,
Wonder Woman.
bombshell Wendy. So let's get at it because we got a lot
Yeah,
to get through.
yeah, before I,
I'm very
book club.
excited. Before we really give our final like scores on this, I'm gonna say on a scale of 1 to 10, Nicole and I are gonna kind of try to go through the episodes as best as we can without getting too far off in the weeds. We all know I'm a leaf in the wind. I'm gonna do my best.
I've run off on tangents and
I
rabbit
know. But we're going to do the best we can to not only kind of tell you about the episode, what we liked, what we didn't like, so on and so forth. And I have critiques. I have some serious critiques. Y'all know me, okay? Nobody gets away scot-free from my eyeballs. So,
No, you're fair,
first and
and that's what
foremost,
that is. This is how you can do this is how you do it. You're fair. It's not
true.
all one-sided.
Very true. I try to keep an even keel when it comes to what I'm watching. I like what I like and I don't like what I don't like, and I make no apologies for that. Um, Linda Carter, I am so sorry I did not like Wonder Woman 84. You were the best, only great thing in that entire film. Thank you. I'm done. Okay. Had to be said. Let's say hi to the chat real quick.
Yeah.
I haven't done this in so long. First and foremost, Ro was four asked, Borat's lesser known cousin. It also he's first, so congratulations, you win the prize tonight. We have Andrew. What's up, Andrew? Thank you so much. And Spencer from the Dingus Den. So excited. We've been talking about this for like 2 weeks, Spencer. I'm so excited he's here. I think that's all we've got. Did
Currently.
I see
Debbie.
Debbie?
Debbie.
Hashtag hype man Debo. Debbie has a new picture of she and I and off-screen producer Amy, and it's pretty great. And I wish I would have downloaded it to share it with you tonight. But okay, on we go. Now, the very first episode, first of all, Echo is a character from Marvel Comics. That was super Midwestern. Yes, there we go. Yes, she is a character from Marvel Comics. In the comics, she is deaf. She is not an amputee, but she is deaf. She is of the Cheyenne Nation, the Blackfeet tribe, mostly in Montana. And her superpower is kind of like Taskmaster. She has photographic memory for reflexes, people's movements and stuff, and she can echo them. She's had multiple, like, she had a romantic relationship with Daredevil. I'm wondering how that works. I'm thinking they had to communicate very tactilely, if you catch my meaning there. And during and after the Phoenix song saga, when she took on the powers of the Phoenix and became the Phoenix's like avatar ish, she goes back in time and she speaks with her ancestors. And I was very glad to see that aspect was brought into the show. But she is played by Alaqua Cox in the Disney Plus special presentation series, who is deaf. She was born deaf, but also several years ago, she was in a car accident and she lost her right leg below the knee. And they actually used part of her story in the mini series to explain why Echo lost her leg. And I thought that was really cool too. Alaqua Cox is also a highly skilled and trained martial artist. These are all things that are super cool to me because I have the exact same amputation that Alaqua Cox does. And I did train in Aikido many, 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 many moons ago when I was in shape and physically capable.
With Moon Knight by chance?
Maybe.
It's possible.
Who knows? But
I can't help myself. I'm sorry, I was bad.
for obvious reasons, really anticipated the show. This is the first time in history that a legit amputee has led a series, and not as like the token cripple or something silly like that.
Yes.
And yeah, and never
Mhm.
like it. I've brought this up many times, but this is my favorite example. The token amputee in Lock and Key. That's all we know about him. He's an amputee and he's always in shorts despite the weather, to so that we don't forget he's the amputee. It's very one-dimensional, and that's very insulting to me. So I was very excited to see that that was not going to be the case, and she was angry, and it was well
Mhm.
deserved. And like, this is amazing. I'm so excited. So, couple of things. Like I said, in the comics, Echo is of the Cheyenne Nation, not the Cahokian Nation. The Cahokian Nation is the largest of the Native American nations. Largest. It actually stretched down to the Gulf Coast, all the way up to Minnesota, I believe, even like all the way up through there from Missouri into Indiana a little bit. So it was quite large, and actually the absolute heart of Cahokian society is right where Nicole and I live. Like that circumference is right there. The background behind us is actually the Cahokia mounds, which were burial mounds, and we're going to reference that because it's a big part of the Choctaw creation
Mhm.
myth. But those mounds are a big deal. It's a sacred place. It's a national park and everything, and it's located in Collinsville. But there's also a town named Cahokia, Illinois. Like it's Cahokia culture, Choctaw culture, very well known in kind of our part of the world with a lot of people. So that was really wild. I was surprised that they didn't show it more like Midwestern. I was like, that was weird to me, but whatever. I'm
Right, because they did
very
out of
white.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, they did do it. Oklahoma, and that's predominantly Osage, but there's Cahokia Nation there too, but
Mhm.
that's cool. Anywho, very excited. That was the first thing that was changed, that she's no longer Blackfeet in Montana. She's Choctaw and in
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. And she's an amputee. And that very first episode was named Chafa. And Chafa in the show is the first Choctaw woman. This is about Echo's ancestors, her
Mhm.
lineage. She comes from the first Choctaw. Her lineage goes
Mhm.
all the way back to Chafa. This was a it was an okay episode for me. If I'm being personally honest, I felt it felt a little rushed. The editing was a little kind of like, we'll throw this in there, because it's been a long time since Hawkeye's been out, so throw that in there. And it was super rushed for me. And I had two big problems with that first episode. One, and this is major for me. I mean, they're both pretty major, but I'm wondering how they've gotten away with this without catching flack. But they changed the Choctaw creation myth, like big time. The Choctaw creation myth was actually about two brothers, Chata and Chickasaw, and they went on to form the Choctaw and Chickasaw tribes. And it's, they were in the other world, and the creator actually created them from these burial mounds. That's why we do them. It's part of the creation myth, or what? That's why the
Well,
Choctaw, the Cahokia Nation, did it. But they changed Chata and Chickasaw to Chafa, to one woman. So I'm curious why they did that, because it's not like we do Christian movies and change Jesus. Like
well,
we can't do
w-
that.
we know that, well, especially by the last episode, they do a thing, a dedication to this tribe because this tribe
Mhm.
helped out. So I wonder if they got permission. I would
I
assume that
don't
they at least
know.
gained
And here's
permission
the
to
thing.
like change this so it would be slightly fictional, but yet at the same time honoring. I'm not 100% sure. Um,
Well, they were consultants.
right.
So how that works is they write. they ask them questions. They say,
Mhm.
"Hey, what is this?" And they tell them. They're like, "Thanks." And then they go back and do something.
Mhm.
They're not going to see that final product really until it's out. They're consultants. That's
Right.
it. They're just asking them questions. So I'm wondering what happened with that and why they did that. That was a big one for me. Like, it didn't feel like it was all that necessary. I get the whole, the women who came before you. That
Right.
is that is a
That's
very big deal. Part of my family is indigenous, and it was, I wouldn't say drilled into our heads, but we were comforted with the knowledge that we are never alone. Our ancestors are always at our back. Just think of the people who came before you. You are
Mhm.
descended from warriors, survivors. It's very important, and it is a comfort to me. So I get that, but it's not just, the women in my ancestry that created me, that are here with me. There are men too. And I get what they were doing, but it feels like a really big change to
Mhm.
someone's religion and belief system. But
Right.
that was my first issue. I did like that we get to see how her relationship with Kingpin was formed.
Yeah. Yes.
That that I really liked. Like, how did that make you feel? Like, knowing who Kingpin is, but watching his tenderness with Maya. Like, what were your thoughts?
Oh my gosh. Well, it was slightly changing. It was just like, I don't know. Maybe it's because they kind of started softening what was to come, though, and preparing our hearts. Because
Mhm.
let me tell you, I was in tears at certain points of this series, both
Yeah.
in the first episode and into the last episode. And uh, we got even some good stuff on Kingpin that made me go, "Oh, okay." And I thought that was also really good that they showed us this, because if you did not watch Daredevil and if you did not know about Kingpin, you got
Mhm.
a little bit more of that too.
Good
So,
point. And you had an excellent point when we were chatting about it. Said it's
I was like, "Oh my
important that
god."
we remind people what the spotlight is, what the spotlight
Yes.
presentation
Yeah, because
is.
this was different. What?
Yes,
Go ahead,
spotlight
sorry.
presentations are, they're, in a bubble, so to speak. They are part of the greater MCU, but with the spotlight presentation, it's a character-driven drama that should be self-contained to the point where you don't have to be completely aware of everything that's going on in the greater MCU, or what has happened in greater MCU, because this is a character driven drama and they'll tell you what you need to know.
Right.
And they did do that with
Mhm.
Kingpin, I feel. Um can I just say, super loved it when he beat the tar out of the ableist that made the little girl sad.
Yep.
Okay?
Mm.
I can't help it but see myself in in Echo. Okay? I went to Catholic school. uh, she's walking out with her prosthetic leg in her Catholic school uniform, and she's telling the ice cream man that she wants this ice cream, and he's like, "Nah, nah, nah." Like
Yeah.
instant rage.
Anger.
And
Yeah.
he gets that, and he's like, "Come here." And just whips the crap out of him. And she walks up to the alley. Like he had said, by the way, if it's not clear, this is a full review of Echo. Okay. So
Spoiler
spoilers
alert.
are everywhere. Don't watch this if you haven't watched it yet. But he's in the alley. He says, "Hey, bring me a new jacket. I don't want Maya to see me like this." He turns around and she's standing at the mouth of the alley. And he's like, "Don't be scared." And before he can even say anything, she walks up and she kicks him with her fake leg. And I was like, "You kick him, kick him." I was okay with that violence. I was okay with it. Um, But the other thing that really bothered me, and hey, Ubaldo, what's up? Thanks for showing up. The other thing that bothered me, and I do have references. I do have references. Okay, so let me get us in the right layout here. That's not at all. Okay, so it is the fight scene with Daredevil, and they kept saying it's a totally uncut 6 minute. First of all, I've timed it. It's a minute and 45 seconds that she is actually fighting Daredevil. And it may be uncut. It may. But there were scenes, there were part of this scene where Maya would disappear from view, and it would have been very easy to switch her out with a stunt woman, which they did. And it does upset me because Alakwa Cox has said through the whole show that she wants to do her own stunts. It's very important to her, and I know why it's important to her. It's the same reason it's important to me. We need to show what amputees can do. There's a lot of misinformation and lack of important information about amputees.
And
So
and
much
I would
so
like to
that
add lack of real representation. Real representation.
exactly. And that leads me to something I've wanted to say. First of all, representation for representation's sake is not representation. That is empty, that is shallow, that is an empty shell, that is virtue signaling. That's you saying, look what a great guy I am. I put this disabled person on TV. No, it needs substance. It needs
Right.
depths, dimensions. It needs to fit. So,
100%.
and I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. If you don't see the need for representation, then that's probably because you don't need it. You've got it. You don't know what it's like to grow up in a world that was not made for you and be told by everyone around you that these things are not possible. Well, did anyone specifically say that? Yes, they have. They've specifically said that, but you're not seeing yourself reflected anywhere else. So it does make you feel like an outsider. It does make you feel like a space alien. I am working on the Belgium project, as everyone who subscribed knows. I'm conducting a study myself on amputees. So if you're an amputee, please go to my About page and reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you. Every amputee I've spoken to has said the exact same thing. You don't feel human anymore. You don't feel like you're a part of the human race. And part of that is because we do not see ourselves reflected in culture at all. We are a small part of the population, but we are a part of the population. And so seeing amputees just being normal people in a TV show is extremely important. It's extremely important. And so my problem came from the fact that there was certain things that were not represented correctly in this show. And I can imagine, because we all know Alakwa Cox is not in charge here. She's not in charge of what goes on in the show. She is the actress. So she doesn't get final say in anything. And I guarantee you, someone such as she is, these things would be important to her as well. But they sat and told us that this is her. She's doing this all herself. Go team. But I am here to tell you, as someone who has a leg exactly like Alakwa Cox. Okay, those are some of my legs right there. This is the one here on the far right. That is the last leg I had before I got this one. That right now it looks like I have Muppet cellulitis, but the foot shell, which is the actual foot there, it goes over an exo shell or an exoskeleton that they actually show in the show.
Mhm.
Um, there it's the exactly like Alakwa Cox's. It's even the same color because they only make it in one color, canary yellow. Like nobody's represented, not even white people in prosthetics. So, and this is a bottom of a foot when I've tried to force the toes and the ball of the foot to bend and flex. Pro tip, they don't. So this is where I'm driving with this. Okay, also, this is the team at Martin Bionics, but you can see my leg clearly. This is the first time I've ever been full bodied. My knee needs replaced, so yes, I know it looks like sloth, but the right leg, just like Alaqua Cox's. We even have the same liners. It's insane. I'm very excited. Let's be best friends, Alaqua. Anyway, this scene with Daredevil, which lasted a couple of minutes, it starts with her kind of running in. And you know what? How about we just watch it? Let's see if I'm
Oh,
allowed to do that. So
we'll
I'm
just
going
turn
to
down the
bring in,
volume. We'll talk
yeah,
over it. We'll turn
yeah,
down the
we'll
volume,
just
and
talk
you can
over
walk
it.
us through this.
So here we go.
Okay.
This is her fighting Daredevil. Here she goes. La 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 la. I'm dangerous. Stop it just so that sickness he doesn't hear me. Okay, still a Laqua Cox. This is still a Laqua Cox. Here
Right.
comes Charlie Cox.
I've
I
been
don't know how
watching him
to.
all night.
Oh,
Woo!
here we go. Look at
He
that.
is
Turn the
good
volume off.
looking.
He is so sexy.
Oh, I know he is.
Here we go. I didn't know I could turn the volume off. Okay, still a Laqua Cox. Notice she's gone. Okay, still a Laqua Cox. Pay attention to her right leg, please. Now she's rolled out of frame. Guess what? That's not a Laqua Cox. Watch that right leg and foot. Watch it. Watch it closely. Does that look like a titanium rod to you?
No.
Nope. Oh, that's not it. Prosthetic feet don't flex. And again, see that? She's pointing the toe. She's flexing it. She's bending it. Okay, there's a Laqua. She's come back into frame. Sees the gun. Here we go. Still a Laqua. All right. For several seconds here, it's still her. But in a few moments, Daredevil is going to grab a shelf. See, that's not her. Do you see that? Do you see the toe?
Mm-hmm.
And I've got screenshots and circles. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. But watch this. She's going to go up against this crate. Look at the foot. That is not a Laqua Cox. This irritates me beyond all measure. It irritates me. And the
And then it's
reason
back to her
why,
again.
yes, the reason why is I don't know how to do things like remove that from the stage. There we go. Is because they didn't even try to cover it up. Like I was talking to Brian about this, who immediately, I have to tell you the smart ass thing he said to me. Cause I was like, she's a trained martial artist. What the F? And he said, first of all, Watson, she might be a trained martial artist, but she's not a trained stunt woman. And she may not know how to pull her punches, so to speak, in the heat of a moment, or she could get hurt. And then where would they be? I'm like, okay, maybe you have a point. You've worked in this industry and I have
right.
not.
Sorry, I
Fine.
have to give him credit where credit's due here.
Right. However, they could have put the stunt woman in a green ankle brace and then motion tracked it in post. I could have done that.
Oh.
I could have
We
done
could
that.
have you do it.
But it would, I'll do it. Watch me.
I believe in you. Do it.
But they didn't even put her in a brace they didn't even try to make it look like an amputee was fighting. As an amputee who studied martial arts, you have workarounds. You're going to use that as more of a brace for stability or a cudgel, or you're going to use it for momentum.
Mm-hmm.
There are ways around it. And you would definitely be able to tell that that foot is not bending. Okay, so this is the scene I was talking about where it comes back to being her. She's completely out of the frame. And then, Daredevil pulls the shelf down and she's back in frame. Okay. So then look at this.
Mm-hmm.
That toe is flexed. She's up on the ball of her foot. Not possible. This is what happens when you do that.
Out. I'm sorry, that looks painful.
It's titanium inside this plastic here. It's titanium. It's carbon fiber, okay? It's carbon fiber. The ankle is titanium. I'm so sorry. This middle section between the socket and the leg and the foot, That is titanium. Inside the foot shell is carbon fiber. It bends a teeny tiny bit, just enough for shock absorption, pretty much. This is the big one. Look, that's there. See that? How bent that is? That is not a prosthetic. That is absolutely not a prosthetic. That is not a prosthetic. That's upsetting. That upset me because here we have this huge opportunity, this huge opportunity, and you straight up replaced the trained martial artist amputee with an able-bodied stunt woman. And I was like, I rewound it and watched it again, and I could hear Dave gulp because he was watching it with me, and I just burst into tears.
It's like he knew. He was like bracing himself.
Yeah, because he knows better than absolutely everybody how excited I was for this and what this meant to me, because it's coming out right when I'm doing this project. And so I was telling everyone at Martin Bionics, I was telling everyone at the Amputee Coalition, I was telling everyone on my amputee Facebook groups, guys, check this out. Isn't this awesome? And first big fight scene, first episode, they didn't even try to make it look like it was an actual amputee fighting. So Disney, call me.
Marvel.
If you need a consultant that, you can't sneak behind them and, change plans where they can't see your mouth moving and understand what you're doing, call me, because not cool. Anywho, those were my really big complaints with the entire show, really, was, oh, let's move on to episode 2. Wait. So, episode 2 is another one of her ancestors, Echo's ancestors, to Locke, and this actually takes place down in Alabama, which confused me, and I texted you, and I was like, why is it in Alabama? Because center of Cahokia is up here. Like, what's up with that? Well, I learned a very valuable lesson, and it's always Google first. Yes. Hey, Truth, what's up, man? Always Google first, but the Choctaw Nation did go down towards Alabama and Mississippi, and I think the reason why they showed Taluk in Mississippi is because they found a lot of Choctaw cave paintings down there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why they included that. So that's cool. But I liked her. I liked Taluk. She was really, really cool. And that game, I meant to look up the name of the game, but the game is actually played by many indigenous people in the United States. It's a big deal. It's still played quite a lot. I've never played it. My cousins have, and they're vicious. Anyway, Scully, I love Graham Greene. Big shout out to every single actor in this show. I love Graham Greene. Graham Greene. His name is a tongue twister. Tantu Cardinal.
Oh, I was so excited for her.
She's wonderful. She's absolutely wonderful.
I remembered seeing her in Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, and as soon as I saw her, I was like, "Oh, that's Tantu Cardinal!" Like, I was so excited to see her on the big screen, and I got to nerd out about her again. Like, it was just, and then I could totally see her as Tallulah, and I loved her in this.
Oh yeah, she's
so
great. And Graham Greene is like,
he's adorable. But can we talk about how adorable and cute, and then how adorable, even when we get to the last episode, we'll have to like,
him and
over those two again.
Dallas Goldtooth. Dallas Gold. If you guys have seen Reservation Dogs, that is one of the best comedies really to come out in several years. Devery Jacobs is in it also. She's one of the stars, and Dallas Goldtooth plays the spirit guide for one of the kids, and he is so funny. He's always like sitting there. I can't. I just can't. Just watch Reservation Dogs with Dallas Goldtooth. Follow him on TikTok and YouTube because he's absolutely hilarious. I can't. It's he makes I can't. Just shut up, Danielle. Anyway, Dallas Goldtooth, Devery Jacobs, all fantastic. Vincent D'Onofrio, this man, he spins gold when he moves his mouth. He's so wonderful, and he did such a good job of playing Kingpin so complex. He was very good at making that character very complex. And enough said about that, Vincent D'Onofrio. But
cannot forget Cousin Biscuits, Cody Lightning. He was hilarious. And the moment I know I'm probably skipping ahead, but the moment when he was pulling up in the truck and he sees Cholula and you could see him and she's and I was dying of laughter. I was laughing so hard, my stomach, I could feel the pain in my stomach.
Biscuits reminds me of,
they were hilarious together.
Of my cousin. He reminds me of my cousin. Everyone around here has got a cousin like that. And he named his dog Billy Jack. Anyway, and I'm wondering, because Willie Jack was a character in Reservation Dogs. I wonder if I don't know. Probably not. Anyway, just being cringy again. So Graham Greene plays Scully, who owns a pawn shop, and he is Chula, her grandma's ex-boyfriend. And this, oh my God, I laughed so hard. I actually texted Brian and gave him my Disney Plus login so he could watch it.
How does he not have
it? Because Schmizzy was a dick to him. So he's like, I'm not giving them money. So I don't blame him. Anyway, you fired me unceremoniously for stupid reasons. So no, I'm not going to pay you $7.99 a month. Anyway, when she gets her prosthetic damaged by the train, by the way, how awesome was that scene of her launching off the train onto
that
Biscuit's
was so
truck?
Cool.
And
I
really think Biscuits peed himself when that was happening. Like, why wouldn't he have? That was a Peter Pants moment. I peed my pants when Linda Carter followed me today. I'm not going to lie about it. It's the thing that happens. I was excited. Anyway, she damages her prosthetic. Those things are titanium. So that clearly that train was fully capable of smooshing it. So she gets her legs smooshed and she goes to her grandma's old boyfriend at the pawn shop. And she's like, I need you to fix this. And he does this quick repair job, swapping out titanium pieces, aluminum bicycle parts. Let me tell you a story about how no, absolutely not.
Yeah, he's
and
like,
it's not something you can. No, and it's not something you can just whip up in a few minutes with some doodads and some whoozy whatsits. It's just not possible. Like, yeah, no, I've MacGyvered some shit, man. In fact, the best MacGyver I've ever seen is right here. You see that black thing that my hand's pulling up?
Yes.
That is actually the tongue from an Adidas Samba.
Oh, wow.
Dave did that for me because it was pinching really bad. So that was my custom Adidas Samba leg. But that's really the best you're going to get. Like, this leg is something that can be kind of worked on if you have parts. But that titanium part at the bottom, that in between the socket and the foot shell there, that's titanium. And do you see all those little holes, those knobbies? Those are all different Allen screws. All different kinds. You are not going to swap that shit out for aluminum bicycle parts. Like, this stuff, this is heavy duty, man. This is heavy duty equipment. And for someone like Alaqua Cox and myself, we're considered, there's different levels to your activity as amputees. Uh, a level 0 is sedentary. Um, a K4 is a professional Olympian. I'm a K3.5. Okay. I am not athletic anymore. Like, let me just make that very clear. That just means I use my prosthetic all the time. All of the time. I'm on my feet a lot. I did hair for 20 years. I was on my feet a lot. And Laqua Cox is she's probably a K4, like straight up. So someone who's that hard on their prosthetics and jumping around and doing stuff like that, do you honestly think an aluminum hollow pipe right there is gonna not crumble as soon as she does something? Like, what were you thinking, Schmizni? What were you thinking? And then they, her foot shell gets all torn up and whoozy what's it. And then they show that he's curved her endoskeleton for her foot. Like, you can see it when she's sitting on the roof in that second episode. That foot is like, it's like this. It's like curved like this. And I'm like, how is anybody supposed to walk on that? Like, how is anybody supposed to make it 2 feet without falling on their face? That doesn't make sense. Make it make sense to me. And why they had the foam in between them, I don't know. I don't know, but it's no, Disney. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That was just painful. Like, no. It's going to take you like days to finagle anything with a prosthetic. Promise you. I promise you. But I love Graham Greene, and I thought he did an amazing job with his character. I love that they all learned ASL. That was really cool too.
Love
like
that. And they learned it from what's her name from Eternals? Her husband, like the husband or whatever from Eternals. I'd heard about that fun fact.
Who, the husband from a wait, what?
No,
Makari?
Yes, thank you. Did I do it? I hope I said it right.
She's super cool, and her name is escaping me right now, but she is a very, very lovely person. My mom was a deaf communications interpreter when I was very small, so I was very lucky in that regard.
Was it Lauren Ridloff? Makar.
Lauren
Yes.
Ridloff.
Ridloff. That's it.
That's
yes.
it. Lauren
Yes.
Ridloff.
When I heard about that, I was like, okay, that's a really cool fun fact that they
do that thing that most hearing people do when they use sign language. They pause when they talk and while they're gesturing. And but it was good for them. And especially what's his name? Chask. Her Henry, her other cousin, or that ran the roller rink, Henry, whichever one. He really understood the language of sign language, I think, best out of everyone, because it is a different language. There's a lot of qualifying words that you don't use. You don't say you don't say is, or anything like that. There's no sign for that at all. And your face has the tone. Like, your very animated, expresses caricature version of facial expressions when you are signing. There's different ways. So he really seemed to understand that best, and that was very, very, very cool. I felt like Laqua Cox really, really, really did a good job with being able to see the pain in her eyes.
Yes.
And honestly, that's something that a lot of disabled people and amputees deal with that you don't realize. For instance, it takes an amputee 8 times the energy just to simply walk as it does someone with 2 legs. So we're always tired. And then there's always something pinching or rubbing or pulling, and nothing's comfortable. It's just constant pain. And then you have secondary conditions like knee, hip, back problem, like arthritis and degenerative disc disease and all this other stuff. So there's always some amount of discomfort and physical pain on top of the fact where the way you feel about yourself is totally different. Losing a limb is like losing a parent or a spouse. It's a type of grief or mourning that you never get over,
Mhm.
and it gives you a pain inside. I don't know how else to describe it, but it is a pain that you can just see behind the eyes, and you can see that with her. I really, really loved that. Yes, they used an actual disabled person for this because no one else can nail that.
Right.
This is how I feel. You know what I
Right.
mean? I like, of course not really, but
Well, and I remember like earlier when I had made that comment about having representation, but this is what I meant. Like
yes.
an actual person, not like we're saying it and then we're going to get an able body to do it.
Mhm.
No, really actually doing it. And they did it
Yes.
for, well, mostly,
Yes.
okay.
And
Minus that like 10 to 20%.
that one
Okay.
scene.
But it
Um,
makes a difference.
it
So,
does. It makes a really, really huge difference because every time you see the disabled character or the amputee character, they're such an inspiration. And they're always so positive and uplifting, and they're just happy about being an amputee. No, we're angry and we're tired and we're sore. Okay. So we're not exactly always in the best mood. So I love that, like, look at on the overlay, that look on her face, that
yeah.
stern, hard look. That
Hmm.
was important. They portrayed her as angry and in pain.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes. She has a lot of hurt in her past. She she's not just going to be cool with it, you know? For me, it was the best some of the best scenes, the roller rink, when they're at the roller rink.
My gosh. Which part?
That
Which one? Wait, which episode are we talking about? Like the
I
moment?
think we're on to number 3, which was, um why can't I find the name of the episode? But the 3rd episode was
Is
when
it's named after
she
her mom to Luke to
no, to
Luke
Lola, that was
to
4.
oh
To Loa was 4.
oh sorry I'm getting ahead to TKLO Tuco Tuklo
Tuklo,
Tuklo.
Tuklo. So Tuklo, um, she was the young Choctaw woman who wanted to be a light horseman like her father. She wanted to be
Right.
a warrior, and they're like,
Gosh,
"No,
I
no, 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 no."
loved the opening. That was neat.
Yes. I love
Very
that the
good.
opening, it shows each one, and it shows them using that gift that they have passed on
Yeah,
through the
I
generations
liked that.
to
I don't
Echo.
and not everyone may not appreciate that, but I appreciated going through the various stages. Like I just
Yes.
love vintage. I love the aesthetic. So I really appreciated it.
Yes. And I love how it just they all lined up to kind of what she's dealing with as well. Oh, hello. Well, I hope you subscribe. Hope you have a good time. We're talking Echo today, so beware, there's going to be some spoilers, and I'm being a little blunt. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for my very unique name. My boyfriend actually came up with it. Don't tell him. His head's big enough. Anywho, um, I love that each episode starts with a backstory about one of her ancestors, because that is the foundation of Native American life. Where you came
Mhm.
from, they're always with you, and what they have blessed you with.
Right.
So I really enjoyed that. And then the fight at the roller rink. First of all, can we all appreciate how Kingpin's ringtone on Zane's phone is "In a New York Minute"? In a New York minute. I was jamming. Oh god.
That was good.
And but the fight, that was 100% her, and it was badass. Like, she kicks
Mhm.
that dude in the face with that prosthetic, and it busts his face open and blood goes everywhere. I'm like, "That's what would happen." Use it. Use it. If we have time today, we'll tell you a funny story about when I was practicing martial arts. Very funny. Why I finished practicing martial arts. But that whole scene was absolutely phenomenal. She nailed it. She really sold it. I really, really loved it. But I think the best thing in the entire series for me was when her mother's spirit came and spoke to her standing in front of the powwow costume
Oh,
that
that's in the 5th episode. Yeah.
that was in the 5th. Yeah.
Yes.
So in the 5th episode, sorry.
So it's
I know
okay.
you got
I'm like,
stuff to
wait,
do.
you're getting ahead. I agree with you. That's one of
So,
my favorite moments too. That being said, but can we
but
talk
when
about that
her,
fight though? I want to go back because
yeah, go back.
that little snake, anyways, he had karma written out. He was coming, dude. When that moment happened, I'm like, I like horror, but I was like, dude, that, and this is why I got an MA right there,
Oh,
dude. I was like, all the
you
stuff.
gotta love a good bash someone's face in at the roller rink.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Good. So good. But when we get, and that was that in that episode, in the 4th episode, which was named Taloa after Echo's Maya Lopez's mother, we learn that when Chula had her, there were severe complications, but her family took her out of the hospital because the hospital's like, it's in God's hands now. And the family's like, well, if that's the case, we're going to take her where we feel most comfortable, where we can speak to God. So they took her out to the woods, and she said she felt the ancestors come and speak to her and tell her that this baby is special and she's a healer. So when she gave birth to Taloa, she was a healer. And we see Echo with the wood, she knocked the woodpecker out of the tree. But as a little girl, you know, she's like, I didn't mean to hurt it. I just wanted to see if I could hit it. And she's like, okay, well, what did we learn?
Yeah.
Like, rocks hurt things. So she asked the mom if we could fix it. And her mom said yes. And then she put her fingers on the woodpecker like this, and it brought the woodpecker to life. And this is where we learn that in Choctaw beliefs, the woodpecker is a messenger. All birds in Native American beliefs believe that birds are messengers. My family believes that if there's one in the home, someone is going to die. If you see an owl, someone's going to die. So we don't like looking at owls. Like, no, thank you. No, scary. But the Choctaw believe that the woodpeckers would warn them when danger was coming. And we've been seeing this woodpecker all through the entire series. And then we see Taloa heal one for Echo. So she had this shamanic magic to her that were passed down from the ancestors. And then in episode 5, which is named Maya, because here we've started with Chafa and we've gone all the way down the line to Maya. Maya actually sees her mother at their old house, standing in front of this costume that her grandmother had made for her. And
I love that. That was so beautiful.
The mom tells her that you are just the current in a long line of people. You come straight from the very first Choctaw. And that's something that we are taught, that it's not necessarily your story. It's the creator's story.
Right.
And you're a part of it. It's a beautiful thing. You're a tapestry. It's this beautiful thing. But it's also that you're never going to be alone. You're never going to be alone. There are so many gifts that you can gain from learning about your ancestry. I get a lot of confidence and comfort from knowing where I came from, knowing the people, the struggles that they went through for me to exist. I mean, it's just mind blowing And so her mom explains this to her, and she says that you have their cunning, their strategy, their strength, and of course Taloa's empathy and love. And she tells her that that exists in every stitch of this costume. And it's just, that got me. That right there got me. I get goosebumps just remembering it, but that got me. That brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah.
That's not done easily.
Yeah. Oh, well, this whole episode 5 was my favorite. It was my absolute favorite because I feel like that's when the whole story, we got really the theme of the whole series at the end. Like it was
Mhm.
building up, and then finally we got it, not once, but twice. And that's about healing, the importance to heal ourselves and to
Yes.
heal our hearts and things like that. And I sobbed. I sobbed. I was like, episode 5 had me sobbing in other parts too. But it really did pull my heartstrings. This one the most. Oh, I want to back up episode
Mhm.
4
Yes.
when Cholula went to go see um to get the sewing machine. Oh my gosh, I cannot forget that moment when she went to get that sewing machine and he still had it.
And then didn't want a
Foley still
dime
had
for
it.
it.
I'm like, "Oh," and then you're like, "Oh,
He
I
still
just want them
loves
together
you.
because that's what I want, because that's literally all I wanted." I'm like, "Can you 2 just get back together? I just want to put you back together."
I forgot
Because
I had notes.
they're adorable, and,
They are.
then when you see this beautiful creation in episode 5, I was just like, and then that moment, I mean, oh my gosh, like, talking to your, like, ancestors, and I'm like, "Oh, don't you just want to some days?" I'm gonna share this. My aunt, Lisa and I, so yesterday marked, 7 years since we lost my, uh my dad's dad, my aunt Lisa's dad also, and she said, "Man, I just wish could talk to him. I want to talk to him." And, of course, this is coming off the heels of watching Echo and me
Mhm.
going, I know. Sorry, I'm gonna pull a Star Wars thing here. I know, you know, because there are just days where we just want to talk to our loved ones that they're here now. You know, they're in our hearts and they're in our memories, and
They're always with you.
they're always with
And,
us.
first of all, Tabitha, I did say hi.
I did too.
We waved at the camera.
I mean,
I'm
one to
never
one.
ashamed of you. Stop it. I haven't even said a swear. Um, it that aspect of the story was so beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and the connective tissue that brought them all together was this
Mm-hmm.
family line.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, if you research any of your history, any of your own personal family history, you're going to hit a point where you're lucky to exist. I mean,
Right.
we all are. But think about Native American and Irish descendants.
Well, Scott. Okay, we got all of it. Yeah, we got different stuff. It's all good. It's all
Yeah,
good.
but the Irish came here on things called coffin ships. They were unsanitary. There wasn't enough food. There wasn't enough clean water. 70% of them died on the 3-month journey to the United States. 70%.
That's crazy.
Okay. And around the same time that the Irish are coming to America, the Mexican American War is going on. So what they did was, as soon as the Irish got off the boat, they're like, hey, you want to be an American citizen, right? Well, follow me. I've got your ticket to that. And they put them on another ship, send them down to Mexico, and make them fight in the Irish American or the Mexican American War. But my ancestors came from Ireland, then were put on that boat down to Mexico for the Mexican American War. And luckily, the guy just said, you know what? I'm kind of seeing where they're coming from. So I'm not doing this anymore. Put his weapons down, got himself a Mexican wife, and then boom, here I am. Like, there's you go back in anyone's family history long enough. What I'm saying is that we come from survivors. People, human beings are lucky to exist. We are blessed with this brief time we have on this earth. And for us to have gotten the chance to be here is huge. And that took a lot of people to make sure you were here. That is a very comforting thought. You shouldn't be afraid of anything because your ancestors went through everything to make sure you were here. They will never leave you. They are always with you. All you have to do is look back in your own family history and learn a little bit about them, and they will tell you everything you need to know to survive in this world. I promise you. And that was a huge part of the Echo series, and I was very excited about it. If you hear squeaks, it
I
is
know
my dog.
it's tiny.
It's Tiny and his daddy
The little
playing with
Ewok.
squeaky toys 6 feet from me. We don't have doors, so you can hear it through the curtain. Um,
He
but
Tiny just wanted us, to know he was here. That's all.
well, everyone should be proud of who they are. Everyone should be proud of who they are. Germany went through its own stuff, okay?
Yeah.
And
Good
I'm
and bad.
telling you, yeah. I always say I'm a typical Midwestern mutt because everybody settled in the Midwest. Like everybody did.
Ours came up through like the South, through the Appalachians and stuff. At least on one of the family sides. We're still figuring it out on the other
I
side.
had my Irish family, my Irish Celtic amalgamation came this way, and then my Mexican and Native American came here. And they just met in Missouri and made me fantastic. Um, but another thing I really loved about episode 5 when she's talking with her mother is her telling her she's got to let the pain go. It's
Yes.
time
Oh my
it's
gosh.
time for the pain to
Oh,
go. And
oh,
it just she's
rips.
standing there, Alaqua Cox is standing there, and you can tell that she's really, really feeling this. And I know exactly uh we don't have anyone else on here to block that, but sorry.
I got this.
Um
You take it.
Her looking up, you can tell that she is feeling everything she has ever felt as a woman, as a Native American, as an amputee, as a deaf woman. And I felt that, like, she really, really emoted that well. It was a very powerful moment. And to have the opportunity to speak with her mother's spirit, and have her tell her, I'm here to heal your heart. And it's time to let the pain go. And that was just, I thought it was wonderful. It was very beautiful. But episode 5 was most certainly not without its action and violence. And we need that in this show. I love how when she shows up for the powwow and she's dressed in
Yes.
the costume and she joins everyone else, and you can hear the drums and you can hear her heartbeat, and they're separate, but eventually they come into sync. I don't know how many of you actually know anyone who is deaf or know many things about deaf people. Deaf people actually really, really love music. They really do. It's not, how do I put this? They feel the vibrations of it. They can feel it.
Ooh.
And when you're banging on a drum, you kind of feel that in your chest, in your heart, in your belly. So I love how they showed them syncing up, because that means she was feeling the rhythm and knew when to move and put her feet. So that was a really cool little thing they put in there. But it also showed that it was, a nice little metaphor for her reconnecting with her roots and her family.
I
You know,
have
she
to
is now in sync with that.
real quick. I was thinking of that scene originally. I was like, man, I'm surprised they didn't really do like really cool paint on her face and all that. And then I thought about it afterwards and went, no, I don't want her to hide in plain sight. I want her to have that strength and that courage to be there and to, you know, like, I am not backing down from you guys, I
Right.
love that. And so, again, originally, I was like, why didn't she have the really cool, paint and all that
I would
cool
have
stuff?
liked the handprint
That would have been
on her
neat.
face.
But then I thought again, I'm like, but no, you can see her. She's in plain sight, and yet at the same time not. And I just, and she's with her people. And I did
Right.
and throughout the whole show, one thing I did like is the fact that they did give us silence here and there.
Yes.
We could understand, or we could
Yes.
only hear the heartbeat, so we could understand the other stuff. I
Mhm.
liked that. I really did like that.
Like when she rigs the crotch rocket to go flying out of the window, everything's
Mhm.
silent until the bike
Yes.
connects with the cop car. It was like, oh,
Yes.
I'm like, "Ah!" You
Let me
go
tell
from
you,
her
this
perspective to
show
theirs
really
real
has
quick.
a lot of good stuff if you're
It
willing
does
to
have a
give
lot of good
a
stuff.
chance.
There are some great moments in the
Mhm.
show. Um, but I like how they show that kind of metaphoric joining back in sync with her community, with her people.
Mhm.
Um, and this last episode, these final scenes, is when we really see how far of a departure the live action Echo is from the comic books. And honestly, I like what they've done. They've made her more unique in that way. Like I said, sorry, my nostril really itches right here. I just have to scratch it. Um, in like I said, her comic book self is like Taskmaster. We already have characters like that in the comics. Why is she so much like Taskmaster? It's kind of unreal. So when they show that scene where they're in that, building and she's confronting, or Kingpin has Chula and has her cousin Bonnie, which
Oh,
Bonnie had like 2 scenes in
uh,
the whole show. I feel
I
like Devery Jacobs got ripped.
right. I liked Bonnie. Of course, I
Mhm.
loved Biscuits. But real quick, the moment with Cholula and Kingpin in the post office, I was like, "Oh, you are stepping in the
You
wrong
sneaky
direction,
snake.
dude." Like, uh-uh.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
no, Chula's gonna own you.
yeah. I was like, like, no, 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 no. Maya's not gonna have it, dude.
Mm-mm,
You're stepping.
mm-mm.
Yeah.
But
Good moment.
they've got Devery Jacobs and Tantu Cardinal, and they're holding them hostage. Again, I'm really sad that Devery Jacobs wasn't in the show more because she's
Agreed.
awesome. I just love her. Um, and Echo tells them both to trust her, and they're like, okay. And then all of a sudden you see every single one of those ancestors that we have met throughout the
Yes.
series flashing through her. Like 1 second it moves on to the next, down to her mother, down to her, and
Yes.
then she sticks her hands out. And to me, that spiral, I always thought it resembled, it was supposed to be chaos, but um it lights up on her hands and she sticks her hands out. So her new power in live action is she's able to echo
Mhm.
her power onto others. I
Yep.
don't know if it's just her family or those she specifically
Chooses,
selects,
maybe.
but she's able to echo that one, she is an echo of the generations past. She echoes her ancestors,
Mhm.
but she can also in turn echo that on to others. So that's kind of super cool. And her
Mhm.
costume looked dope, including the gold Choctaw
Yes.
emblazoned piece that snapped onto the front of her prosthetic. That is something a lot of amputees do. because we can't get realistic looking prosthetics that actually look like us because the medical system sucks and prosthetics are considered no different than a pair of crutches and they're a luxury item and we don't necessarily need them.
Okay. Says somebody
Anyway,
who doesn't have it. You know what I mean? Like, that's stupid.
yeah, let me tell you something. You don't live very long when you stop walking. That's science. Anyway, a lot of amputees have stuff like that. You can 3D print armor basically that snaps on and off. You can interchange it. But Scully tells her that you represent us wherever you go, and you should represent that proudly. And she
Yes.
does.
Scully.
I love it. That was really cool. But instead of just straight kicking Kingpin's ass, she does the healing move on his heart and then on his head.
I know. Whoa. Again.
That was really cool. And I like that they reference what happened with his father. Was that the boy from the series? Like, was that a clip from the series?
Which one are we talking about?
When they're in his head, and he's remembering the abuse that went on in his house. I can't remember if that really was from the Netflix series. If
I
it
don't
was,
think
they
so.
owe
I think it
Steven
was something new.
Tonight some money.
If I heard correct, it was something new because it was
Okay.
different actors and actresses.
Okay. But we're not even quite sure what she did to him because he keeps asking her, "What did you do? What did you do?" And they take him away, and like he still kind of seems like him, but sadder.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was rushed. How they did that, it was rushed. It's obvious to me they cut things out. That's one of the issues I have with the editing is that they were like, okay, take this out, put that there, because they did a lot of reworking over the last year on it. This has been done for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a lot of reworking and they cut things out, and I felt that absence, especially in that last moment. Like, I feel like something else should have gone on, and then boom, healed, be healed. But of course, that was a deep cut from Children of the 80s right there, what I just said. It makes sense to me that one, she is an echo of her ancestors. She can echo that power. I think that makes sense. It also makes sense to me that who better to teach others to let go of their pain than a disabled woman who's lived with it her entire life and doesn't know anything different. And I mean, if she can do it, you can do it. All right. So that made a lot of sense to me. But I felt like that moment was just missing something. It was just missing something for me. But I did think it was cool, that she was able to do that. We still don't know entirely what she did. And I'm feeling like what she did might be a lot more dangerous than she realizes.
Possibly.
Because of the mid-credit scene and what we know is going to happen in Spider-Man 4.
Yep. Or anything else that they could be possibly setting up, even with Daredevil or anything else.
I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. So, spoiler warning, here's a scoop for you.
Ooh.
Spider-Man 4 is going to be like Civil War for the street level heroes. Echo. So she will be back. Truth.
See?
Echo, Spider-Man, Punisher, Daredevil, Moon Knight.
The Defenders.
Well, I don't know if they're bringing Danny Rand. I don't know about that one. But I do know they're bringing Jessica Jones back. She is in the Daredevil series. Yes. But for the street level heroes, Spider-Man 4 will be like Civil War. Kingpin is going to be mayor of New York. And he is going to outlaw vigilantes. And he's going to put like a price reward on the heads of Daredevil and Spider-Man. So I'm wondering,
to clean up.
Yes.
Whatever.
I'm wondering if what she has done is removed the only voice of doubt he had in his mind. The
Ooh.
only thing that somewhat held him back from going full blast, because in that mid-credit scene, you see Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin sitting on the plane,
Mhm.
and he's like, "Ugh, oh my God, I've had a hard day. Woo! Kids, am I right?" And he hears the news going on, like, is there anyone else who's actually going to run for mayor who can? It felt like they were
Yeah, they totally
referencing like
hinted
a
at
Donald
Putin.
Trump type, like an outsider who didn't feel uh who didn't go along with the establishment, who didn't shy away from speaking his mind, a brawler, a bare knuckle brawler. That's what got his attention. And he was like, make a call. I'm gonna run for mayor. So I think what she might have inadvertently done is removed the only voices of doubt in his mind and just put him on this path.
Yep.
Like,
We'll see
whoopsie
how this
daisies.
one plays out.
Right.
It'll be very interesting to see how this plays out.
So, final score. I love that they made her Native American community
Yes.
and ancestors vital to who she is as a person and a superhero, because that's exactly how an indigenous woman would be. I hated that they changed the creation story. We
Okay.
don't go around changing Jesus and his apostles. It's not fair to change someone else's belief system for TV just because they're not as popular as your belief system, not as widely known. That just seems rude. Um, Second for me is love that she's a badass and an amputee, and they show that off. Hate
Mostly.
that, yeah, I hate that right out the gate they replaced her with an able-bodied woman and didn't even try to hide it. I love the story that they were going with, but I feel like it was kind of rushed together.
Mhm.
The editing was a little sloppy and rushed together. And so that really ticked that score down for me. All in all, I really, really, really was excited for this show. I needed this show as an amputee woman myself, and as the champion for amputee education and visibility as I am. I really wanted this bad, but it did fall kind of flat for me. For me, I would give it like a 5 out of 10. It was very mid for me. I feel like they could have done better. It's it just really felt like everything Marvel's been putting out lately. It was no secret invasion. Thank you, dear Lord, baby Jesus. They didn't go that far with it. Because Secret Invasion started off with a real good first 2 episodes and then just kind of went, wait a minute, is that her arm or is that a baby Drax? What is happening? Um, but they really seem to suffer from the same problem: rewrites after filming and then trying to, repuzzlefy those pieces. So for me, 5 out of 10. Will I watch it again? Probably, but I feel like it does have low rewatchability because of how it was put together. So do better, Disney. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's hear it, Nicole.
Well, I did like this series. I did. I think again the one big negative I was that scene when we knew that it was somebody else and it wasn't her, or that they had
Mhm.
interchanged her for a stunt woman.
Yeah.
Um, that was my biggest thing. And the first episode was good, but it wasn't as good as the others.
Mhm.
But I will say this: I love the fact that they have our main character because again for bringing in again more for ASL, more for everything else that we didn't have before. I think it's so important to have community within community and real, not just like somebody else throwing it in there.
Yes.
It says a lot. If you joined me last night on Used and Abused, you know I already got this, but I'm going to show it again as I showed it at the beginning of the show. When I like something, I will go out and do more investigating. I will go out and buy other things because I want to know more, or I will check
Mhm.
out Danny's past comics and cosmetics on Echo because she did a really great breakdown, and you should totally check it out. It's in her vault. And so even though I've listened to that one, I had to go and get this myself, and that is Echo. That says a lot. When I want to go read something up, that does tell me that I've liked something, because if I don't like it, I'm not buying more
Right.
information about a character. So in this case, though, for me, I keep going back and forth. Could be like an 8.5. Like, did they have issues? Yes. But that's also me being fair and being honest. Like, so I
Mhm.
liked most of it, but I had a few things. However, I would love to see more of her. I want to see more
I would love
Echo.
to see
I
more of her.
still like her. I did notice that they had put her on Disney Plus underneath the Defender, so that's why I'm like, okay, I
Mhm.
know we're getting more of her. I don't think
Yes, we're
we're done
definitely
with her
getting
yet.
more of her.
Mm.
I liked the show. It was, yeah, it's decent. That's and Spence said something. He liked it more than most of the Marvel stuff as of recent.
But I also
And
liked Miss Marvel. See,
oh,
and
I
that's
love Miss
when
Marvel.
see
I
that was
liked
a
Miss Marvel. I felt like Miss Marvel was an excellent way to show us Muslim culture
I loved Marvel.
without doing
Right,
this.
right,
They did
right.
a great job with
And
that.
that's
And
ushering in a whole new generation,
yes,
which we
this is
know is
my
coming.
Echo
I love it.
Funko. I meant to have her here, but the day she came in the mail, I freaking cried.
You know what I want? So I could have gotten Echo Funko Pop the other day, but you know what I really want to see is her in the new Indian costume, the Native American costume that she
Yes.
made, because I'm
The
like, oh
puff
my God,
dress.
that's badass. Like, that's the one I want.
Yeah, I want that one too. This is from the Hawkeye series. I got
Yes,
it last
yes.
year, but I was so excited because I have an amputee superhero. Like, I have merch
Let's
for it,
make
and
it
it was so
too.
exciting for me. Um, but I don't want to get it twisted. Like, I did like it. It was decent. It was better than Secret Invasion.
I will say
But
I did like this better than Secret Invasions. I
yes.
don't usually rank. I'm really bad at ranking, but in this case,
Yeah, I
I
am
will
too.
rewatch Echo again. I
Mhm.
will I could rewatch it again. I would.
Yeah.
So I liked
I
it. I don't know why.
I just
Something
I
really touched.
wanted more from it.
Mhm.
I wanted more. I needed it to be more. I think for the very first time to have an amputee actor lead their own show, you needed to knock this out of the park.
Mhm.
Um, especially with what I'm doing. I don't know. I'm just saying there were some very simple fixes that brought the meter down for me, and that made me sad. I would like to talk to other amputees and get their
Thought
input
so.
on it. But for me, I put it mid. It was mid for me. I'd watch it again. It was a decent way to introduce her to people who don't really know anything about the MCU and about Marvel. She is coming back. She is a part of the MCU. Don't worry about that. But the series is done. The spotlights are just like special little mini series to
Right.
introduce you to somebody and focus on them as a character. I feel like it did the job of us forming an emotional attachment to her,
Oh, absolutely.
but
And her
it could have
ancestors
been.
and more Tallulah.
Oh, you want some scoops on Daredevil Born Again? Okay, well, does everyone know that Foggy and Karen are back? So they were going
I did
to,
hear about that.
yes, it is undergoing a massive, massive rewrite that we've known for a while. They pretty much threw the whole thing out. But the good news is Marvel is actually listening to fans. When everyone found out that they had killed off Foggy and Karen off screen, they were like, "What? Like, how could you?" So they are bringing back Foggy and Karen. They're bringing them back to Daredevil Born Again. They will be played by Deborah Ann Woll and the kid from Mighty Ducks as the actors for those roles. So that's really cool. I've got some other stuff that it's written down on my nerdy news board that I don't want to get up and walk over there and get it because I'm wearing my mom pants and I don't want you to see my middle age spread. So, um, I have some nerdy news coming out this week. Bunch of stuff on Daredevil Born Again. So make sure you like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get it. So you get my scoops, man. Scoops. But yeah, Foggy Nelson and Karen, they're back, and I'm stoked because I can't believe you said that. Oh man. No, nobody wants to see that. Trust me. I guarantee you that people would rather pay Ambrose for that than they would to see mine. Oh my God. Yes. But that is our review of Echo. Nicole gives it about an 8.5. I gave it about a 5. Not the worst, but not the best for me. I wish it would have been more, but it wasn't. But this is what we have. So, okay. I think they should most definitely credit that stunt woman and just come clean about it and learn their lesson and learn how to use a green ankle brace in the future and motion cap shit. Okay. You do it all the time. What was different this time? I have questions. Inquiring minds want to know. This is pathetic that this is me sober. I don't need drugs or alcohol to be a complete weirdo. So, that's all we have for you today, guys. I want to thank everyone in the chat for sticking this out with us. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your support. We're up to 1,030 subscribers now, and my mind is quite blown. Like, when I hear my voice in my head, it sounds like this. So I'm really amazed that anyone can stand that for more than 3 seconds. Thank you very much. Please hit the like button on your way out. If you would like to support the channel, we have several options for you to do so. Everything I'm going to tell you, you can find it at comicsandcosmetics.squarespace.com, including information about the Belgium project. If you would like to help me and Academy Award winning makeup artist and designer, special effects artist Brian Sipe bring realism and comfort and health to amputees everywhere, please check out this website. Please go to the Belgium Project. Please help us. Please help me, 101. You're my only hope. Please definitely check out the Red 5 Network. There are so many different podcasts, channels, content creators for you to choose from that if you're bored, you're doing something wrong. Okay. There is something for everyone at the Red 5 Network. Hashtag we look good in red. And so do you. You do. You really do. So check it out. You can get really cool shirts like this one and really cool mugs like this one and all kinds of other stuff in 36 designs if you go to this link right here. And not just you get to walk around in like really sweet merch and people are like, oh my God, your shirt says I have to pee. That is so cool. And you know what? So do I. You're also help support the channel and help me keep this nonsense going. So if you do that, thank you. I appreciate you. You're the real heroes. And you can also support the channel by joining our Patreon. There are 3 different tiers starting as low as $3 a month. You get some behind the scenes, some sneak peeks, some outtakes. You can ask me anything. There's some tutorials. Check it out. It's a good time when I remember it exists. And there's also that QR code above the lovely Nicole's head. You can scan that and you can tip me as little or as much as you like. Totally 100% up to you. I will give Tiny some cheese if you tip $5. Tiny gets cheese. Don't deny that cute little face. He loves cheese and he works really hard on this channel. He's got a laptop and he gets tired and throws it, and it's a whole thing. Like he's really into the work he does on this channel. Nicole, tell everyone at home where they can find you.
Oh, where can they find me? Well, where do we start? Well, I'm Nicole. Again, 1/3 of Used and Abused and 1/2 of Peace Love Disney on Facebook. You can find me as Peace Love Fandoms on Twix, as well as Instagram and TikTok, which I'm rarely on. Also, I spearhead the Red 5 Reading Book Club, which comes, actually, we're doing tonight. Actually, I'm so excited because we're currently doing Dark Force Rising. There you go, Spencer. I did it right.
Snap.
I'm so excited because we're on to volume 2 of The Heir to the Empire. So you can find me on Twix underneath the Red 5 Reading. And of course, part of the Red 5 Network, which I absolutely love because, we're nerd sisters and all that jazz. So
we have a good time.
We do.
We have a good time, and we're there for each other. We're not just a network. We are a family. We put up with each other.
We have. Are you watching this? Are you crying like I am? Like, yeah.
And all our different and unique personalities. That's for sure. For sure. But thank you, every single one of you out there. I appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful and a wizard day. And do not forget to check under your beds tonight, because
Disney and Kathleen Kennedy are gonna get you!